It was the letter that brought me here, a simple note, scribbled hastily in ink, from a man named Edward Mallory, a historian and amateur paranormal investigator. He'd been researching the Borley Rectory for years, documenting the strange and tragic events surrounding the house. His letter was cryptic, but I knew immediately that this was more than just a case of ghost stories. I arrived at the rectory on a cold autumn afternoon, the sun barely breaking through the thick blanket of fog that shrouded the surrounding land. The air smelled of damp earth and decay. There it stood, like a dark figure emerging from the mist, looming over the land, the Borley Rectory, the infamous site of countless disappearances, unexplained phenomena, and chilling hauntings. The house was abandoned, yet something about it seemed to hum with a sinister energy. The windows were cracked, the bricks worn and crumbling, and the once grand structure now felt like a forgotten monument to some long-dead tragedy. As I approached the entrance, I noticed something strange, a faint light flickering in one of the upstairs windows. My heart skipped a beat. No one had lived here for decades. But there it was, the soft glow of light, flickering like a candle. I stepped forward, my breath catching in my throat. The door, which had been locked for years, creaked open with ease. I didn't know why I went in, but something inside drove me forward. The Borley Rectory had been the site of many strange events over the years. Built in 1863 by the Reverend Henry Dawson Ellis Bull, the rectory quickly became infamous for its hauntings. Some said the spirits of nuns who had been buried in the area haunted the house. Others claimed the land itself was cursed. But the most well-known story came from the disappearance of Reverend Bull's wife, who had allegedly vanished without a trace one night, leaving behind only a trail of blood in the hallway. The rectory had become a subject of intrigue for paranormal investigators in the early 20th century. Edward Mallory had been one of the most dedicated scholars of the site. He'd spent years compiling reports, interviews, and records, many of which suggested that something far darker than mere hauntings lay beneath the surface. As I walked through the entrance, I could feel the weight of the history pressing down on me. The air felt thick, as though the house itself was holding its breath, waiting. The floorboards groaned beneath my feet, each step echoing in the silence. I paused as I reached the main hall. There, at the foot of the grand staircase, lay an old diary. I hesitated, and then picked it up. The leather was cracked and worn, the pages yellowed with age. But as I opened it, the first words caught my attention. "The spirits are restless. The house has not forgiven us, but they are coming. I fear I cannot stop them." I turned the pages quickly, eager to learn more. But the entries grew increasingly erratic, almost feverish, as if the author had been driven to madness. Mallory had believed that the house's curse was tied to the land itself. Something ancient, something evil that had been awakened in the rectory's walls. The ghostly apparitions, the eerie sounds, the disappearances, they were all a part of something bigger. And that something was coming back. I decided to stay the night. I knew it was a dangerous decision, but something in me had to uncover the truth. The wind howled through the cracks in the house, sending shivers down my spine. The air grew colder with each passing hour. At midnight, I heard it. A whisper, soft at first, almost like a breeze. Then it grew louder. "Help me!" I froze. The sound came from upstairs. My heart raced. I grabbed the flashlight and made my way up the stairs, my footsteps loud against the eerie silence. The floor creaked under my weight, each step seeming to echo back at me. As I reached the top, I felt the temperature drop. My breath became visible, fogging in front of me. And there, at the end of the hall, was a door that I was sure had been closed when I passed by earlier. It was now slightly ajar. I approached, my hand shaking as I pushed it open. Inside was a small, dusty room. But the strangest thing was the mirror. It stood against the wall covered in dust, except for one spot in the center, a clean patch. I stared at it. And then, suddenly, my reflection wasn't mine. The figure in the mirror was wrong. A woman with hollow eyes and a pale face stared back at me with a hollow gaze. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Get out! The voice was unmistakable. It came from behind me. I spun around. There was nothing there. As the hours passed, the house seemed to come alive. The whispers grew louder. The floorboards creaked beneath unseen footsteps. I couldn't escape. Every time I tried to leave a room, I found myself back in the same spot. The walls seemed to twist and turn, bending and shifting like something unnatural. I returned to the diary. There, in the final entry, was a chilling passage. The Borley Rectory is a prison, but not for the living. We are the prisoners, the spirits. They cannot leave, and neither will I. The curse will never end. The realization hit me like a thunderclap. The house was alive. The spirits trapped inside, the ones who had vanished, they were still here. The land, the house, it was all part of an ancient curse woven into the very fabric of the building itself. They were waiting for me. I ran. I couldn't find the door. The hallway stretched on forever, twisting into endless corridors. I could hear the whispers, closing in on me, growing louder. Help me. And then I saw it. The door. I rushed to it, my heart pounding, my breath coming in short gasps. But as I reached for the handle, something cold wrapped around my wrist. I turned. The woman in the mirror was standing behind me. Her fingers were like ice, her eyes empty, her mouth twisted into a silent scream. I could feel the cold, suffocating me. I pulled away, but the grip tightened. I was not alone. The last thing I heard was the door creaking shut behind me, locking me inside. I woke up the next morning, outside the rectory, but as I looked at the building one last time, the reflection in the window wasn't mine, it was hers. The Borley Rectory's true history is filled with reports of paranormal activity and mysterious disappearances. Built in 1863, it became known as the most haunted house in England due to its dark past and the numerous accounts of ghost sightings, strange noises, and unexplained events. The rectory was demolished in the 1940s, but its legacy lives on in paranormal lore. Many believe the spirits of the Danvar family, along with others, still linger, their stories untold, their fates forever linked to the cursed grounds. Whether the haunting is purely myth or rooted in terrifying truth, some places are never truly abandoned. Some places never let go.